So today we're going to be talking about the donor sperm process. So the reason why is we did the video about our journey to pregnancy, and we kind of wanted to make a separate video relating to donor sperm just because there's a lot involved in the process, so we wanted to give you all the details for that. And I know a lot of people were curious about it and asked, so I thought we'd explain it and what's happened so far.
So the reason we need a donor sperm is because you can't just find it off the street.
True. Well, I guess you could, but yeah, don't do that.
So obviously the two of us don't have any, so we needed to get some and buy some. And typically it's through a sperm bank just because it's more secure and you get all the appropriate information that we need to make sure that it's matched for what we want. Other couples, it's not just for lesbian couples. Some couples, maybe they're heterosexual and there's infertility, so they might need to have a donor, which is fine. There's so many different possible reasons for it. So it's just good to have that opportunity. It's really nice.
Right. And also remember, you can get donor sperm from a person you know. You can do that. If you have a person in your life that you like, you want to have them donate the sperm, you can do that. Just understand it's a different process than going through a sperm bank. You have to set up a specific contract with that person or an agreement or something just to make sure that you do everything appropriate in that process. You don't want any misunderstandings happening later on once the child's born or later in their life, so just be careful of that. But we didn't go through that process, so I can't really give you 100% about it. So one important thing that you need to do even before you go ahead and start searching for donor sperm is make sure and get tested for CMV virus. So whoever is going to be pregnant, that person needs to know if they're positive or negative. Again, that means cytomegalovirus. And again, I don't remember exactly what it means, but you're either positive or negative, and it really doesn't matter. It's not like serious like HIV or an STD, STI, it's different, but still, it's good to know which one you are. If you're negative, that means you can only pick from negative donor. If you're positive, you can pick either positive or negative, right? But it's really important that you get tested for that. It's really easy. It's just in your blood work, and they'll let you know.
Now, I wanted to talk about the sperm banks. So you can't really just pick any sperm bank. We would suggest you pick the appropriate one that has a good reputation. Like for us, when we went through our fertility center, they gave us the list of approved sperm banks, approved by a specific organization, the New York Tissue Bank. So that's accredited and they follow whatever the standards are for them. So from there, then you can look at each one and go through whatever they have there and then make a decision. So that's a really important thing, is to make sure you have a reputable, safe bank, because if there's no accreditation or something like that, you're risking, it's just going to be way too expensive and it's a big risk,
Okay, so now she just talked about donor sperm banks and make sure you pick a reputable one. So once you have a list of the banks, first what you do is you yourself or you and your partner or whoever is involved in the process of picking the sperm, they need to make a decision of what traits, personality, physical, whatnot that you want within a donor. And you can be as specific as you want. Like for the two of us, we put down every specific thing we could think of possible that we wanted. You could have the same race, or if you don't care, you don't have to, specific hair, all of that. Some sperm banks have different services that you can upload your picture and then they will try and do a match to a donor, or you can just check off which ones you want. So we made our list and we were very specific, and then you go online and they'll have like a donor search. So you click on that and then you can go through, and there's physical things like eye color, hair color, skin, if you want someone tall, their weight, education level, everything. So what I would suggest doing is start being specific as you want. Check off everything that you want and see if there's any donors that match that. If there's someone that matches, awesome. Take a look and see at their profile. If you check all of these things and there's no match, then the two of you can decide which things are not really as important, Maybe you put down you wanted, I don't know, someone that has blonde hair, maybe that's not really as important for you. Or you put down, oh, I want someone with a master's degree. Again, maybe not that important. So take off some of the items, and then you should have more profiles pop up. Now, if you want a very specific race or something like that, it may lessen your chances of having a lot of donors, just FYI. But anyways, do that for each website or each bank that you decide you want to go through. And then what we did is I made a chart, like a spreadsheet, and I put down all of the important items we wanted. And then I listed each donor. I put their number, which bank they're at, do they have this, and I checked everything off. Plus also you get basic medical history, which again is very important to check that as well. And then once we were done, I put everything into the spreadsheet, and then we prioritized or ranked which ones we liked best. So we went through and did that, and then you go through and take off until I'd say the top 2, 3, depending on what you want, even, up to 4. And then once you have your top 2, 3, 4, you can see which sperm banks they're from. And then if you want to, you can pay a little bit more money. Well, you can pay some money to get a more in-depth profile, which will include different things depending on the bank itself. But you can get like an interview, an essay, a more in-depth medical history, things like that, which should help you pick your top donor. And I would avoid being really concerned about cost, just because, if you can, make sure beforehand to start saving a lot of money, as much as you can, so you don't need to be concerned of, oh, this is $500 and that's $900. Well, I want that $900 one, but I only have enough for the $500, so I'll pick that one. No, save your money if you can and pick which donor you really, really want. So once you've picked a donor, you can decide how many vials you want. You can see what inventory that they have. Do they have a high, a lot left, or a low amount, meaning there's only a few vials left? And then you can decide if you want a lot of kids, you might want to buy, a lot of vials in bulk, or you can just buy them little by little, depending what the inventory is. And then once you're done, you purchase them, pay for that storage, typically through the bank or related company. Then you pay for that, they freeze it and store it for you.
So there's 2 different types of sperm donors. There's anonymous or open ID. So the decision of which one you want is really an individual thing. There's no right or wrong answer. What we did does not mean you have to follow that. That is just our decision, how we felt about it and what we thought was the best decision for our child. So we decided to go with open ID. Anonymous means you will not know who the donor is. You don't have their name, anything like that, just, from the basic information that you were given by the sperm bank, their profile. That's all. So they're not going to be able to identify who that specific person is. Now with open ID, that means you still don't know who the person is, but there's the availability later on when the child is older that they can decide if they want to know, who the donor is, if they want to get in contact with them, learn more information about their history. So again, we picked open ID just because before, actually, we wanted anonymous because we thought, no, this is our family. We don't want anyone else involved. And we felt, no, we want to set that boundary. It's our child. But then when we did our research, we found a few different articles. And it was interesting because it talked about advice from children who are older. And some of them were from anonymous donors. And they said that they felt kind of not right about that their parents took that choice and that right to find out away from them. And to me, I goes, yeah, that's kind of selfish for me to think, well, it's all about my feelings and how I feel about the situation, but actually it's about the child and their right. It's their right to know their genetics, whoever that genetics comes from, and learn more about their heritage, whatever that bloodline is. That's it. So I guess we just felt it was better to let them have the right to make their own decision when they grow up and if they want to do it or not. But important, when they're at that age, they should know who their family is and where they come from. So that's kind of the understanding we have.
And I will include a link down below. Well, there's 2 different articles. Either include a PDF itself or a link for those 2. And really kind of analyze those and that help us make a decision. But one more thing, one of the reasons we actually changed our minds in the first place is because our fertility clinic requires any couple, whether heterosexual, LGBT, doesn't matter. If you're using donor sperm, you are required to have a psych appointment. We thought it'd be no big deal. We know everything. So we went to the appointment, and like I said, most of the stuff they talked about, we already knew. But then they asked, do you want anonymous or open ID? And we said, well, we want anonymous. And the psychologist and the assistant, they did not pass any judgment, but they just said, hey, here's some reasons you might want to do open ID. It might be a better option, from their experience working with people who have been in that type of family. So after that, then it kind of got us thinking, and understand this was a really hard decision. It wasn't like an instantaneous, we changed our minds. No, it took a lot of research, a lot of really just kind of looking into ourselves and understand whatever you decide, don't make a decision right away. Do your research and really look into your heart and decide what's best for you and your family. And just know that, the 2 of us as a couple, it's not about us and our feelings. It's about the child's feeling. Always remember that. Sometimes it's really scary, or you might feel, well, this is my child, but think about the kid first, okay? So that's all I'm saying. But again, no judgment. If you decide you want an anonymous donor, that is up to you. We're just trying to give you as much information as possible. And I would suggest, if your fertility clinic does not require a psych appointment, I suggest that if you can, go ahead and do it. It's not going to hurt to talk with them about the different options. You never know. They could say something that you never thought about before.
Right. And again, do your research on both options in full before you make a decision, and whatever fits best for you.
The last thing we wanted to talk about was in the donor sperm process. Remember, if you're going through that process of picking the donor sperm, remember that really, just to be honest, the best thing to do is inform the child. And I know it sounds kind of odd and kind of obvious, like with us two, they'll figure it out, if they're intelligent enough, they'll get it. But with some couples, if they're heterosexual, it could be their kid. So it's important before you make the decision to go ahead and use donor sperm, like the 2 of us talked about, how are we going to inform the child later? When and how, and, what is that going to look like? You don't have to know all the details right now, but it's something that you really need to think about before you even go ahead and purchase the sperm. A lot of psychologists have considered that, and research says that it's best to inform the child as soon as possible so it becomes a normal part of the family, So that's just another thing. There's kind of a lot of points today, but really it's all about just doing your research. It's so important. Do not take this process lightly and think, you're just going to go online, make a few clicks, purchase some sperm. No, there's a lot of research involved. And like I said, if you have any questions, let us know. Ask us. We're not psychologists, but if you just need an opinion, we can give you that, and we are more than willing to answer whatever we can. And if we can't, we'll try and link you to a person or a place or something like a website that would be helpful for you.
Okay, so if you like this video, please click like. And if you haven't, go ahead and subscribe. And remember to click the notification bell so you get notified when a new video comes out.
Yes, and if you want to provide support for this channel or our other channel, you can do so by looking at our Patreon page. It's a monthly donation, which will be down below, or you can go through Ko-fi, which is a one-time, any amount donation. We really appreciate all of your support, likes, comments, or whatever, even a letter. See you in the next video. Bye!